a lot of people say, well, BlackRock's got X trillion dollars under management. Yes, but that kind of a lot of it's index funds and stuff like that. It's not like Larry waves his fist and said, let's buy $10 billion of Bitcoin. That's not how it works, right? It's a customer-driven business. They have demand, they sell it to their customers. So it was interesting to see somebody of that seniority at that level of the finance industry talk about the flight to safety. These are things you're not supposed to talk about, but BlackRock's not a bank. It's the sort of thing Jamie Dimon can't talk about.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Finance. In this video, Raoul Pal discuss about Bitcoin and BlackRock ETF approval. Raoul Pal says, "It's interesting that a company like BlackRock doesn't elaborate on things. After all, we knew they were coming because they began discussing this in 2021. Therefore, I assume that they have been in this field since at least 2017 and have conducted the necessary research and the task and all other matters." Many people now claim that BlackRock is managing X trillion dollars. However, a lot of it is made up of index funds and similar investments. Larry doesn't just raise his fist and say, let's buy 10. Bitcoin is worth $1 billion, but that's not how it works. It's a demand-driven business where products are sold to customers. So it was intriguing to see someone of their clients, that level of seniority in the finance sector, discuss the flight to safety. These are not what you are meant to discuss, but BlackRock isn't a bank, the kind of thing Jamie Dimon can't discuss regarding, and lots of things Raoul Pal discuss, so please watch the video to end. And share, subscribe our channel Everyday Finance. Thanks.
Maybe Larry's just slow to catch on. I mean, this is the reason I got into this space in 2012, 13, right? Because we had gone through the 2008 crisis. I was in Europe and went through the European banking crisis and the sovereign crisis. We thought all the governments were going to go bust and all of the banks. We had Cyprus where they took all the money of people's bank accounts. And so I realized that we needed an asset that was maybe a bearer asset that we could keep hold of. And the only one really was gold. And gold is not easy to deal with. You know, it's big and heavy, and you've got to get somebody specially to store it and all of this. And that's when I discovered Bitcoin at the time and how I could self-custody this asset. Nobody had a claim on it. And I think Larry's now seeing the ripple effects of that, because this debt crisis keeps rolling, right? We keep building the debts, The economic growth is too slow to service the debts. And so the next phase of this was these regional banks. And Larry can look around him and see that JP Morgan essentially is eating the world. People have very limited choice here, and there's going to be an appetite for it. What's interesting is an institution like BlackRock doesn't go into things lightly. Don't forget, they started talking about this in 2021. So we knew they were coming. So I imagine that they've probably been in this space since about 2017. And they've done the research and the work and everything else. Now, a lot of people say, well, BlackRock's got X trillion dollars under management. Yes, but that kind of a lot of it's index funds and stuff like that. It's not like Larry waves his fist and said, let's buy $10 billion of Bitcoin. That's not how it works, right? It's a customer-driven business. They have demand, they sell it to their customers. So it was interesting to see somebody of that seniority at that level of the finance industry talk about the flight to safety. These are things you're not supposed to talk about, but BlackRock's not a bank. It's the sort of thing Jamie Dimon can't talk about.
According to Raoul Pal, BlackRock will hold all of the Bitcoins. It's not a client-driven initiative. Rather, it's a fund, and you purchase a share of the fund to gain access to Bitcoin. It's not as though they run you through all of this, but the way I see it, there are two worlds, the crypto world and the ETF. I think of these as sort of like a digital nation state in that sense. Okay, and what we're creating is a trade agreement that allows you to get direct investment from the transportation industry into the crypto. This one is an ETF called SPOT that makes it possible for money to enter the system, which is exactly what the system needs right now. as the cryptocurrency economy has not been expanding. Yes, we may be in a crypto spring and have recovered from the lows, but the economy is still slow and there is not a lot of activity at the moment. What you need is new investment, and this is what this does. There is a trade agreement between TradFi and cryptocurrency, but that doesn't indicate that any GNA is actually doing the necessary trades. For example, just because we have an ETF doesn't mean that Larry's clients want to buy it yet.
So how I frame this, again, there's a lot of noise online from people who haven't been in the financial systems, like BlackRock's going to own all of the Bitcoins. It's not. It's a client-driven thing. It's a fund.
Right.
And you buy a share of the fund, and that gives you your access to Bitcoin. It's not like they front run you into all of this stuff. But how I think about it is we've got two worlds out there, TradFi, crypto.
Mm-hmm.
And the ETF is probably, I think of these as I think of the crypto world as like a digital nation state in that kind of Balaji idea.
Okay.
And what we're building is a trade agreement. So you can get direct investment from the TradFi world into the crypto world. So these are kind of trade agreements. This one, the spot ETF, and that allows money to come into the system, which the system desperately needs right now because the crypto economy has not been growing. Yes, we might be in crypto spring, so it's come off the lows, but the economy's slow. We can see it everywhere. The activity is not great right now. So what you need is some new investment. And that's what this does. It's a trade agreement between TradFi and crypto, but doesn't mean that anybody's going to actually do the trade. They need to, just because we've got an ETF, just because Larry wants to sell it to his customers, doesn't mean the customers want to buy it yet. So we have to wait and see. It's like we saw with the Van Eck ETH futures ETF. They did a big marketing campaign, did everything, almost zero volume.
Yeah.
I think it's exactly where it would be after you've just gone through winter and it's a bit of spring. So if you think of what spring is like, one day's raining, one day's sunny, one day, it's a bit meh, And so ETH, there's plenty of stuff going on. Activity's relatively slow because NFT market, which is a big part of ETH, is in its bear market because it's an asset and it lags the ETH economy, like houses lag the US stock market, stuff like that. So it's relatively slow, but still it is the broadest based and deepest economy of all of them. Yeah. So for me, it's just like, yeah, fine. It'll new stuff will come, new opportunities will arise. Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a long winter, although, most of the space bottomed in October last year. ETH bottomed in June. Then most of the space bottomed in October, and some alts are still bleeding now. So that's almost a year since the bottom was in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is a year since the bottom was in. So I actually think of these as 1 year down cycles, 3 year up cycles, with the first year and a half being kind of spring-like, and then we go into summer, and then we go into fall. So that all lies ahead for me. And it just feels that we just need a bit of liquidity to come into financial markets. We need any trigger. Maybe one of the banks struggles and the Fed has to do something. Maybe the Fed decide that, yields are getting too high now. We'll need to cap them with yield curve control. Or maybe they just see inflation falling fast and they start cutting rates. But all of that feels like it's coming into play, and the crypto market will start sniffing it out early.